Good evening, Avram.
Hey, how's it going?
Good, how are you?
All right, not bad. It's a rough. I haven't had enough time to do 90% of the things that I need to get done this weekend in preparation for Black Friday.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Also, there just aren't as many good deals as there have been. Although maybe it'll get better later in the week. I don't know. Guess we'll find out.
That's let's hope.
Yeah. So
Hello, chat. Chat's already active tonight, so.
Yeah.
All right.
Good.
All right. So what are I do I already know what we're doing?
Yeah, I mean, I think we'll just do like we said, Black Friday's coming. Yay! Here are the things you can buy. Here's how you can save. Here's how you can save some money on Black Friday. So you know, that's the gist of it. What are the things you could save on? What are the you know, what to do?
Sure. Sounds good.
Uh,
I assume you saw the topics. No, we're not talking about the
yes. Yep.
cars. We've got a.
We're not talking about the cars.
Yeah.
What cars?
Six things to consider before making a.
Oh yeah. I didn't think that was.
Yeah.
I ignored that because I thought that was one of the new how-tos that you had somebody do.
Yeah.
The new evergreen content. We wouldn't talk about evergreen content on the show.
Yep. Perfect. We've got a.
Yeah.
We've actually got a content partner that has been putting those together for us.
Mm-hmm.
Super excited about that. Saves me a ton of time.
Yep.
All right. Mm-hmm. So it'll be this. All right. So, for those who are in chat tonight who are watching us live, we're going to be trying a couple of things. Also, just as a note, Avram, I don't know if he necessarily knows this or not, but this is his 300th episode.
No, I didn't know that.
Yes, tonight is episode 300. So long as we don't count before we split it off and published it separate, because you did like 2 years before we decided to publish a feed with just the Piltch point in it. So.
So there was more than that. There's more than 300.
Yeah.
Is what you're saying. Okay.
Yeah.
Hey.
There's probably close to 4.
These are the rings.
But yeah, tonight's 300 standalones.
Count the rings. I really need to keep a hat in here so we don't have to keep seeing my bald head. But anyway,
I'll bring you an F5 to CES. I'm bringing you a bunch of stuff to CES this year.
Yeah. So, yeah, we got to talk about that. Anyway, so
okay.
Yeah, I mean it's gonna be so anyway, yeah, it's gonna be a crazy week. That's all I'm gonna say. It's gonna be a crazy week.
Yes, indeed. All right. So, all right, like I was saying, we're testing some stuff out tonight. Fingers crossed that everything goes as planned. We'll see. I'm a little nervous, but I think it'll be fine. All right. I'm going to hit record here. Have this up and running. All right, and here we go. This week, GeForce is getting hot. Blizzard is getting out of China. The internet is a little more understandable, and Ticketmaster is falling apart. It's Sunday, November 20th, 2022, and this is episode 637 of F5 Live Refreshing Technology, a proud part of the Tech Podcast Network. If it's tech, it's here. Wherever you are and however you're accessing our show, whether it be on social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, or Snapchat, through a podcatcher like Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Amazon Music, Spotify, TuneIn, or a myriad of other options, through our live stream platforms, livestream.com, Twitch, or YouTube, where you can join the community and get ad-free versions of F5 Live and Piltch Point, or on our website, PLUGHITZlive.com. Thank you for making us a part of your day. There are two ways that you can do that. The first is you can join us live Sunday nights at 9 p.m. Eastern by going to f5live.tv/join us. There you can chat with us during the show, give us your feedback on the topics as we talk about them, or you can always subscribe at PLUGHITZlive.com/subscribe. There you'll see all of our shows, including F5 Live, Piltch Point, PLUGHITZ Live Presents, and a whole lot more. And of course, you'll find all the ways to watch, listen, and follow along. All right, Avram, it's we're gonna get into the details of it, but I know it's been a crazy week already for you. But how are you doing?
Yeah, I mean, tired. I'm tired. I'm very tired. So for those who haven't watched hundreds of episodes with me, and then you might not know that this time of year is really a lot of work because our website, as well as all of our sister sites, we spend a lot of time highlighting deals for people, and that becomes a big focus during the Black Friday period. And now we're into the height of the Black Friday period, and so it's a real challenge. And this weekend I was doing a lot of prep for it, but man, I was so tired from staying up late during the week that I just couldn't do it as well. And then it's the toughest. It's been tough lately because my daughter, who's 3, will come and, like, on the weekends especially, and she'll be like, hey, come cuddle with me on the couch. And I'll be like, oh, I'm sorry, I gotta work. And then she'll be like really upset. I'm like, okay, I'll come cuddle with you on the couch, and I'll bring the laptop, but so I can do some work. But it is for all the stuff, especially this kind of stuff, where it's like, I really want to see some information over here and some information over here and some information over here. There's never a more useful time for me to have 4 monitors right now.
Sure.
Which is FYI, I do have 4 monitors, and in fact, I just ordered a 5th monitor, but it's not going to. I don't think it's going to be a 5th monitor. I think I'm just going to replace the 2. I'm in the process of trying to replace the 2 top monitors. I've got 2 on the top and 2 on the bottom. The 2 on the top are 10 years old, and they're still in great condition, but they're 1080p, and the 2 on the bottom are 4K, and the 2 on the bottom I like, but are not super colorful. The color gamut on them is not very great. So I'm thinking that what I might do is take the 2 on the bottom and put them on the top, and then get 2 new bottom ones. Anyway, I took a real risk. I will tell you, audience, I will tell you how this comes out, because this is quite the risk. I wanted to get a monitor with high color depth, and those things can be expensive.
Yeah.
And I saw somebody was selling, a company that supposedly pulls old lap monitors from offices, was selling a monitor that is like the last generation Lenovo 4K monitor that has like 99% color gamut, 99% sRGB, 99% DCI-P3, and 99% Adobe for $200 used. So I
Okay.
ordered a used monitor. We're going to see if a used monitor is a good idea. Now,
Okay.
mind you, even if it works out for me, that doesn't mean it works out for everybody.
Right. It's an
But
interesting thing because, like you said, the two up top are 10 years old. I've got some out in Mission Control. My my old faithful HPs before the like the W and the X series. They're probably, oh my god, they're probably 13 years old. So, longevity isn't necessarily the problem. It's, whether or not they got into a fist fight or anything.
yeah, I mean, supposedly these were pulled. I should have maybe ordered two when I had the chance because I need two monitors, but I figured I would get one of these, and then if it's okay, then maybe I'll get one really juicy So when we talk about Black Friday, that's one of the things I'm looking for. Juicy, a really juicy productivity, a really juicy monitor for my main monitor. So we will find this out. We will talk about all the great things you can buy. Monitors are one of the absolutely best things that you can buy during the holiday shopping season.
Yeah.
This and every year. So anyway.
Well, I don't know exactly what I'm looking for yet. But I know you're going to ask in a little while. So
so think about it.
I'll get started on that in my head while we're talking about some other stuff. We've got a lot going on over here. I mentioned to Avram before we got started that we've got some new content writers that are doing some interesting stuff for us. So keep an eye out for that. We've got some unboxing videos and reviews. I know every time I talk about unboxing videos, I always look over there because that's where I keep them. I keep the products off that direction in the studio. Anyway, so whole bunch of stuff coming this week. Plus, of course, we've got Thanksgiving on Thursday, Black Friday. I am going to do something I have not done in a very long time on Black Friday. I'm going to go out in public.
Why would you do that?
Because we're going to open Strike on Friday. We're going to have it open for the guys who have been dragged to the mall by their girlfriends. And while their girlfriends go, look at clothes and whatever, we're going to have Strike open so that they can go hide. So
I mean, maybe
I'm not going to be there at 5 a.m.
Yeah.
What's that?
Do people have to pay to get into Strike? How does that work?
$5 an hour, $15 for 4 hours.
Okay.
So.
And you're anticipating it's mostly going to be men?
Maybe. We're gonna have there'll be kids in there too. It's Thanksgiving break. We're gonna have kids all week.
Video games are for everybody. So
especially
classic games. So I don't know if we should say they're gonna be in there when someone else is shopping for clothes. I mean, anybody could be there.
That's true. Yeah, that's absolutely true. But we definitely want to be open. It's a holiday week. Kids are going to be out of school. Chat has said that we need to place some ads around the mall or something. Yes, we intend to send some people out during the week to let people know in the other shops that we're going to be open. So, but yeah, with that, we've got a lot of stuff to talk about tonight. So I say, let's get down to it. This week's Nifty Gifties on F5 Live Refreshing Technology is proudly powered by the Microsoft Store. Whether you're looking for a new laptop, tablet, Xbox, games, or a whole lot more, you can get them at the Microsoft Store. Remember, current students, faculty, parents, and active military can save up to 10% off almost everything. To browse the products and learn more about the discounts, you can go to f5live.tv/Microsoft. All right, we talked a couple weeks ago about the new cards that video cards that were coming. Several of them are on the market now, and one of them in particular seems to be having some issues. The GeForce RTX 4090 started to see reports that the power connector, which is a new power connector, was melting, which is obviously not great. When you combine all of the new things, right? New power connector, new generation of cards, anything could have been the problem. Some tests were done. I don't know if did you guys do any direct tests?
Oh, yes.
Okay, I figured.
Oh, direct tests? No. Direct tests, we couldn't really,
didn't have enough units in your hand.
I can't.
My guess.
It didn't our video card guy has not had it happen.
Right.
And he has tested a few different models. So there is that. But in order to, make it happen. So Steve from Gamers Nexus had a video, which I saw, and it sounds like you may have seen too, where he reproduced the problem. And that's great, except I'm not going to ask someone on my staff to potentially set a fire, whether they're in the office or not. But also he reproduced it pretty much by trying really hard to cause it. Mm-hmm. And it's obviously the response from NVIDIA is you're plugging it in wrong, right? Mm-hmm. That was their response. They claim that they've done some studies of this and they think that people aren't plugging it in enough. And so, yes, if he didn't plug it in enough, then for sure it happened. The question is whether that is the main cause or the only cause,
right, or
whether there's a genuine defect here. And then there's another question, which is if it's so hard to plug it, if this is happening enough,
right,
because it's difficult to plug in, then that is also a design flaw, because it should be easier and more secure to make sure that it's actually plugged in. I mean, the previous story was that it was plugged in, but the wire was being bent or something. Like, we haven't had this problem really before, so it's not a great situation either way. Like, somebody should do something. Maybe somebody is the PCI SIG, which I think has some responsibility for this. Not necessarily NVIDIA, but NVIDIA is the first to use this type of connector, which, by the way, is also on the 4080 that just came out. So there's we have no reason to believe this wouldn't happen on a 4080. Like, we don't think it's a 4090, necessarily a 4090 problem.
Right. We just don't have enough longevity on the 4080 to.
Right. It hasn't. I think it just started shipping, so I haven't yet seen any reports of this happening to somebody. According to NVIDIA's own admission, they were aware of over 50 reports. Mm-hmm. I don't know how many 4090 cards have been sold, so I can't tell you what percentage of cards 50 is. That is now. Here's an interesting little side story tidbit from my week. This is actually a big story for us. We've done a lot to try to cover it, because we know that this is of great interest to our audience.
Yeah,
right,
for sure.
But there's a guy who works for one of our sister sites. He actually hadn't been in the office before because he just moved into town or whatever, and he used to work in PR for Samsung phones. And we were talking, and he had worked in PR for Samsung phones at the time of the Galaxy Note 7. Yikes. Right? And he turned, and we were talking about this, and he turned to us and he said, I can tell you that the number isn't what matters. It's whether they actually know the cause. So it's worse to have, he said, it's worse to have one phone that caught fire and you don't know why, than to have 100 phones that caught fire and you do know why.
Like the Sony PSP that caught fire in the kid's pocket in school.
Right.
Sony never did figure out what happened there. And
I mean,
that's terrible, right? How it wasn't plugged in or anything. So what caused it? Is it going to happen again?
I mean, here's a little dirty little secret. Like batteries can catch fire and electronics can catch fire. So with enough scale, anything can happen, and it could be. Of course, the companies, the manufacturers, would love to always talk about user error and make it always put it on the user, because that absolves them. See Steve Jobs saying you're holding it wrong about the iPhone that couldn't get good enough signal.
Antenna gate. iPhone 4, I think.
But the thing is, there's a certain level of risk and randomness. Now, I know there were some iPhones that were catching fire a few years ago, and then they blamed people from using third-party chargers, that they said the charger wasn't good or whatever. So there's risk at any time you're using electricity. I guess lithium-ion batteries can be a fire hazard. But we have them all over the place.
Like a major fire hazard. It's the reason why unsealed lithium-ion batteries are not allowed on consumer planes, and why if you order a lithium-ion battery from like Amazon or something, if it has to come from not their local distribution center, it takes longer.
There's a weird thing going on too with like, I have ordered, and I have to admit my house is probably like a factory of problems, but like for electronic projects, I've ordered things like this, which is like a 3.7 volt lithium-ion battery from Adafruit, one of my favorite places to buy things, and
100%.
And they have rules actually about how many you can order at once, I think, and whether if you're buying them with something else in your order, then you can buy more. There's like a weird instruction about it or whatever, because of all the regulations around lithium-ion batteries.
Yeah.
So
I mean, anytime you've seen a video online of like repair people working on a thing like a phone, and the phone goes up in flames, it's the battery's fault.
Now, here's what we can say. In the case of the NVIDIA cards, it's not a battery because there's no battery involved.
Right.
So that we can say with great certainty.
A CR2032 on the motherboard, but I mean that you could put that in your mouth and not feel anything. So it's not that.
It's not a battery. So it's not a battery. That we can say with great authority. Is it the cable? Is it users not plugging it in right? I mean, we can almost certainly say that if you didn't plug it in right, that is a risk. The question is that
you're building resistance. More resistance means more heat. More heat means the thing can melt. Totally makes sense.
But I mean, like, folks have looked at whether the soldering quality of it, like the Gamers Nexus video, he sent it to some lab that they looked at it, and really they didn't. It really seems like they couldn't find a very specific fault with the wires. So it could be user error. Now, on the other hand, when you design something, you should kind of design it to be idiot proof, right?
Yeah.
And it's not idiot proof if that can happen. So I think they should probably look at, is there a way of like making it so that you can't plug the cable in without pushing it the whole way? Is there some kind of plastic notch or something that they could put in? I mean, NVIDIA does have some good advice, which is to plug it into the card before you mount the card in the system, and before you stick the other end of the cable into your, well, I guess it's mainly an adapter. So you're plugging, I think it's like 2 8-pins or whatever PCIe cables into it.
Yeah, something like that. Or 2 6-pins. something like that.
Yeah. So anyway, uh, I mean, there now are a handful of power supplies that have this natively, but I don't
Right.
know that that's necessarily the problem. Is whether the fact that it's an adapter cable. It sounds like it's on the plug side.
Right. The question comes: is it on the male or female side of it? If it's on the adapter side, maybe it is a defect in the adapter, and a power supply with it built in wouldn't have the problem. There's all kinds of unknowns here that make it really challenging. But
I
Gamers
mean,
Nexus used the adapter for their
yeah.
video, for their tests. So, I mean, that's a good sign. They had recommendations based on what they were seeing that maybe it's not plugging in all the way because of debris from the manufacturing and or shipping process. So blow out both sides if you've got compressed air. If not, pretend it's a Sega cartridge and just also, if you plug it in and unplug it, blow it out again in the event that plastic shavings come off from, tension or anything like that, which I thought were both great suggestions.
Yeah, I mean, that's good. It's just that, a lot of people aren't going to, I mean, for people
Right.
who are conscientious and watch the video like that, great. They're going to hopefully get the benefit and hopefully that protects them. But not everybody's going to watch the video.
Mm-hmm.
And so I don't know what to say, but they ought to find a way to make it more seamless. Maybe it's an issue of the connector. I mean, obviously, if they have to make a change, it's not just this may very well not be really an NVIDIA problem. This may be a PCI. I mean, it is NVIDIA's problem, but it may not be. It may just be because they're the first to use this type of
Right.
connector.
Right. Totally possible that there's a design mistake in the connector itself, which would be massively unfortunate.
Yeah. Also, AMD threw some shade NVIDIA's way.
Yeah,
They
they did.
tweeted a picture of their connector and said something like "Stay safe for the holidays,"
Yeah.
because they
Yeah.
still
I,
use the old connector.
I saw
So
that. Uh, it's a fascinating industry in which we live.
yeah,
But
yeah.
obviously, we're gonna keep an eye on this because, you know, at least 50 units that we know of. Hopefully the actual cause, because like you said, it could be a marketing department cause. Hopefully, hopefully, an actual cause and a permanent solution are figured out here soon, and we will definitely keep you up to date on that. This week's Piltch Point with Avram Piltch is proudly powered by PureVPN. The best way to protect your privacy online is with PureVPN. You can hide your online activities, say goodbye to regional restrictions, and improve your streaming quality. Plus, it's available for almost all of your devices. You can get a special price and a 31-day money-back guarantee right now by going to pilchpoint.live/PureVPN. All right. It's that time of year, bud. We're coming up.
Oh,
We're in that week where your life gets really interesting.
oh yes. But hey, the rest of you can also have an interesting week, and your interesting week can be based completely on finding good deals. So we are now in Black Friday week. Really, we're in Black Friday season. We've been in Black Friday season. I think it's going to really ramp up starting like Wednesday, Thursday of this week. Thanksgiving is a very busy day for me logging deals. So yeah, my family expects that me to spend a good chunk of the day. I mean, when it's dinner time, I put the laptop or the computer down and go to dinner, and then after dinner, back on again. So anyway, but let's talk about what the rest of everyone can do to actually like get a great benefit out of this holiday and save some money. So first of all, please do come to tomshardware.com and check out our live blog of deals, our deal pages. We're highlighting all kinds of stuff. But aside from that, let's talk about what is good to save on. So obviously there's sales on everything from mattresses to clothing, but I don't care about that. And Tom's Hardware, we don't care about that. We're a tech enthusiast place. So what you can save on is in our world is you can definitely save a lot on components. So this is a really great time to buy a CPU. It's a great time to buy a motherboard. It's a great time to buy an SSD, and it's a great time to buy RAM, power supplies, graphics cards. We had seen a lot of drops in price. It seems that I was just checking this afternoon. It doesn't seem like there's a lot of great GPU sales at this very moment. Maybe it'll heat up later in the week. But if you are looking to upgrade or do a new build, this is a good time to be picking up the parts, with the possible exception that you will not find great discounts on the very latest Intel 13th gen CPUs. The Ryzen CPUs, the Ryzen 7000 series CPUs are on sale, and you can get a good deal on them. The best deal on them is, if you trust this place, which I believe it's pretty trustworthy, especially because they've got an eBay, eBay has policies. There's a store called Ant Online, and their eBay store has like up to $120 off the new chip. So like the 7950X, which is a 16 core chip, normally $699 is going for like $570 or something. So, and of course you can get the kind of entry level Ryzen 5 7600X for $249 there. But the best deals are on last generation AMD 5000 series. A really great chip for gaming is the Ryzen 7 5800X 3D, which uses a lot of 3D V cache to actually make it incredible for gaming. And that one is selling for $329, also via an online eBay. Otherwise, Amazon has it for $359. So a good time to get that stuff. A great time to get a monitor. We're seeing hundreds of dollars off monitors. Our top picked gaming monitor, the Dell 3222 DGM 32 inch 2K 165 hertz monitor with really fantastic contrast and color. Normally $399 is $289 at Dell. There is the Dell's 4K gaming monitor, which is we have it on our, let's just say the model number escapes me because it's a bunch of threes, but it is normally $799. Now you can get it for $599, and that game's at 4K with really great color. Another really good choice there is Aorit if you want a big screen. There's a couple out there. There's a Samsung right now selling at Amazon. Samsung's Odyssey G9 49-inch monitor, 240 hertz monitor is $779. That's at least $120 off what you normally would pay for it. So those are some great deals. And then on the productivity monitor side, I'm going to hastily admit here that I'm not much of a gamer, so I don't care about high refresh rate monitor. I want high resolution and I want great color. And Dell is selling its Ultra Sharp U2720QM monitor for $349. That's normally like a $550 monitor. 4K with wide color gamut. So there's a lot of great stuff going on in the monitor space. there's a lot of great stuff going on in the laptop space. Particularly, we're seeing some great deals at deals.dell.com, where there's some really good deals on Alienware laptops, where you could normally find, have to spend more than $1,500 for an Alienware, even the cheapest Alienware laptop. Now we're seeing them for less than that, and we're seeing ones with 3060 or 3070 chip. You want a GPU, ideally, you want to go for, if you can spend the money, and we now are seeing some for under $1,000. We're seeing laptops with 3060 GPUs for $999, not Alienware ones, but we are seeing them elsewhere. Like if you look at Best Buy or you look at Newegg, Acer's web store has some great deals. And then I don't know if this is still going on as of today. I gotta check it, but one of the best deals around, if you just want a really inexpensive gaming laptop, Best Buy had a Gigabyte. I think it's the MD5. I'm checking now. All right, yes, G5 MD. The Gigabyte G5 MD, which we, by the way, have one and are reviewing it, and our review will go up next week. But spoiler alert, performs pretty well. This gaming laptop has a Core i5 3050 Ti. I think it's a 144 hertz or 120 hertz display, 512 gigabyte SSD. The one really big downside is it's 8 gigs of RAM, so you'd want to upgrade that. And it is an 11th gen processor, but that won't make a big difference. Did I say how much it was?
Nope.
You want to give a guess?
Oh, that's So a gigabyte
3050 Ti.
Yeah,
It's
350
only
Ti, 8 gigs of RAM, 11th gen Intel.
500 gigs, 15.6 inch FHD gaming FHD screen, which is I think 44, but it could be 144. It's 144. So 144 hertz. Yes. So 3050 Ti is good enough to play a lot of games at 1080p ultra settings or high settings, or very high settings. So that's a pretty decent graphics card.
I don't know. Let me go crazy and say $799.
$549.
Wow. Okay.
$549.
Okay.
$549 gets you, at Best Buy, the Gigabyte G5 MD. That is what you get. Now, you absolutely should plan, if you buy such a thing, on spending another like $50 to upgrade the RAM, which I'm sure it's upgradable. You absolutely should plan on upgrading the RAM. 8 gigs of RAM is not enough RAM. I mean, you can get by with it, but I wouldn't recommend it. Although if you're buying a gift for someone, you could buy them this, and then it would be their problem to get another 8 gigs of RAM, which they could use it without. Sure. They could use it without it, but they may eventually say, "Wow, when I have a lot of tabs open in my browser, things get a little slow." Sure. So there's a lot of good deals out there on gaming laptops. There's some okay deals on gaming desktops. There's also decent deals on 3D printers. This is a pretty good time to get a new 3D printer. There's some deals on Amazon on them. I just got a email today from Anycubic telling me that they have a bunch of sales going on Anycubic.com, which is a major 3D printer vendor. And then we also have a review going up tomorrow of the Elegoo Neptune 3 Pro printer, which I have, and behind me the Neptune 3 Not Pro. And the Not Pro has been pretty good and has been selling, and is about $209, or depending, Amazon sometimes has a $229. Elegoo, Elegoo, on their website already is taking orders for the Pro, which steps it up by having higher temperature hot end. So it goes to up to 260 degrees Celsius. And it has what's called direct drive, which means that you get a better feed directly through of the filament, through the head, through the nozzle. And that allows you to print in TPU, which is a flexible material. So besides printing in regular plastic and regular, PLA, which is the most common stuff, you can also print in TPU with that, and that has an intro price, I think, of $229. So at elegoo.com. So a lot of great deals out there. Obviously, please come check out. You can just go to our homepage, tomshardware.com, and we are going to have a lot of deals. And I will be burning the midnight oil. I already have been to help you find them. So come check it out.
Well, I know I always follow what you guys are up to, save for that one weird 2019 where I was stuck here in the studio putting out content about a particular product that was failing, where I did nothing but that for like 3 days. But I always appreciate, seeing what you guys are doing. I recently replaced one of the monitors in Mission Control. Well, I guess technically I did put one of them back. So I replaced one of the monitors with an ultra wide and threw one of the original ones off to the side. And so, I've been keeping an eye out. I mentioned earlier I've got some, really old school HP monitors that are probably 13 years old. And, it's probably time for them to find a new life, maybe as the chat monitor in here or something, and get something like a couple of 4Ks.
I'm somewhat constrained. I'm somewhat constrained in the size of my monitors by my mount, which I don't want to have to. First of all, I couldn't really find. Well, I found one that might serve, but this one is supposed to be limited to 27 inches per monitor.
Okay.
So, ideally, the best size right now, the best price to size ratio is 32 inches today. The price delta between 27s and 32s in most things is minimal. So if you don't have space concerns or, a monitor arm that won't handle it or something, then you would be much better off to buy a 32 in anything, like whether it's a gaming monitor or just for productivity or whatever. The price deltas are so small. They're like $30, $50, whatever sometimes, that and depending on the sale, you might even find a 32 inch of a different brand cheaper. So and of course, if you're going at 4K, you probably would get more benefit out of 32 inches because then you wouldn't have to up the scaling so much. So I have to admit, I'm using 4K monitor and I have it at 175%. I'm not really getting all my benefits from it. But now that I have two 4K monitors.
So that's not entirely true. And because you're getting on text and stuff, which I know you deal with all day long, you're getting, crisper text. It doesn't chunk up on smaller sizes. It's still going to be crisp. You're definitely getting a lot of benefit on a 4K, even at 175%.
That's good because it was really not clear to me. I mean, I'm going from, my 1080 monitors to my 4K monitors. And to be honest, I'm fitting about the same amount on the screen, maybe a little bit more.
But you're not having.
When I first got
your eyes aren't straining because the text is going to be crisper because there's more pixels to produce the exact same size text.
Yeah. Although funny thing, I am finding that my Dell monitors are still somewhat easier to read. The other thing that I'm finding interestingly is that I don't know if you've done a lot with multi-monitors, is that my upper monitor is he's more important to me than my right monitor. Like I thought for sure, because I sit over here, right? So I've got a set of 4, and I don't sit in the middle. Just not how I got stuff on the floor. I can't really sit in the middle. So I sit in front of the lower left monitor. So that's like my number one most important monitor, right? But I thought when I set this up that like my number 2 most important monitor would be over here. But actually, like, since they're so big, like even at 27 inches, turning my head and seeing stuff that's like all the way on the edge of that monitor is like not pleasant. But looking up into my smaller 24-inch monitor here is much easier. So I'm thinking that like the most important monitors to me are going to be, the second most important monitor is going to be this one, this upper one, rather than the lower right. In fact, it's even a little bit easier for me to see the upper right. It seems that the lower right is actually the worst place for me. I don't know. Maybe if I had an arm that was coming in more or something, but
or maybe if you were centered. Yeah. Because like for me, for the primary setup, technically I've got 6 monitors out there on 2 arms, but the primary one that I use is, well, up until recently when I went to this ultra wide, it was a grid of 4, and I sit smack in the middle of it. So for me, the bottom ones were my primary, and then up to the second where I put like chat and media and stuff. But yeah, if I wasn't sitting center on it, which technically I'm kind of not now, my left monitor, which is one of the 27s, which sits off to the side of the ultra wide, has definitely become way less important, except when I'm editing, which became my preview screen, than it was when they were a perfect grid and I was dead center. So I get it.
Which should you find easier to work with, sitting with yourself in between monitors, or sitting with yourself dead center in front of one monitor?
So I'm not dead center on the ultra wide, but I'm pretty close. I definitely. So it's hard for me to say because I'm annoyed by the lack of symmetry, and so I struggle with that aspect of it. But I don't know. I really like the ultra wide, which makes like I would probably be okay dumping the 27 if I didn't use it for editing with the ultra wide in the middle, but I'd move it back to the middle. So probably it seems like I like the symmetry more than I like anything else.
Yeah.
But so, I'm also not flat, right? My monitors are kind of like the peak of a house, and I sit in the middle of them. So, that makes it a little different.
Yeah, these are totally flat.
So I've kind of created one giant curved monitor.
Yeah, well, that makes sense. Yeah. So anyway, I guess if you are not constrained by having a monitor arm like mine, definitely get a 32 that only takes 27s. And by the way, before this, I had a different monitor arm set that only took 24s. So whatever monitor arm set I have, I seem to be one generation of inches behind or whatever, because if you've been following monitors for a while, you know that at one point, like 20 was mainstream and 24 was big. And then 24 was mainstream and 27 was big. Now 27 is kind of either mainstream to small, and 32 is becoming the mainstream size now, I think, for people buying new monitors.
Gotcha.
So at least in terms of the price for what you get.
And that might drive it to become the mainstream, right? Like if the pricings are this, like the Dell, the one with too many twos in it, 3222 DGM.
It's $20 more for the 32-inch than the 27-inch.
Yeah.
Like there's a 27-inch is $269, and then the 32-inch is $289. So I think a lot of people would look at that and be like, and these are gaming monitors, so you probably really want that space. Like, I think they'd probably look at it and be like, yeah, you know what, I'll spend the extra $20, even if all things being equal.
Yeah. Because it's not like it's a $50 price difference or something like that. It's $20. It's not. It's an easy number to go. Okay, same price category. I'm gonna go with a 32.
Yeah. So anyway, but good time to get a monitor. Like I said, I'm keeping my eye out for product for. I bought one used monitor that's coming, but I still have one more to replace. So to get me to all newish monitors. So I'm keeping my eye out. I want a productivity monitor. I'm between either getting one of those Dell Ultra Sharps, or since my other 3 monitors now are going to be Lenovo's, I'm kind of tempted to get a Lenovo just to have the look of the monitors be pretty somewhat consistent with each other.
Sure.
So the one that I ordered that I'm getting is a P27U10, which is a 27-inch 4K wide color gamut. They have a newer model that's the 20, but they're charging $550 for it, which is a lot. So we will, and some people are reporting that it makes noises, which would really concern me. That it has coil whine as some users have reported coil whine. So
fascinating.
I don't know if that's common, but or just some people are getting it, but that I would not like that. I would not like my monitor to make whining noises to me. Although I have so much fan noise here, I might not notice it. So who knows? The final thing that I'm thinking about, I'm curious your opinion on it, is whether or not it would be really beneficial for me to get a monitor that has picture by picture. None of the monitors I have now, nor the one that I ordered, supports PBP. And I kind of really like the idea of having that. Do you know what that is, right? Picture by picture.
So that sounds like something side by side.
Yeah, it's for those who are following along at home. Picture, obviously, many of us have heard of picture in picture,
right?
Which is on TVs. Sometimes they have it, and on some monitors where you can get like a little tiny window in the corner of your screen, and that's coming from a different video source. So if you had 2 different computers, you could have, one that was the main window and one that was picture in picture. Picture by picture is the same concept, but equal halves of the screen, or you can divide it up differently. What I like about that is not even for the fact that I sometimes use other devices like a laptop or Raspberry Pi. I have a crazy idea that maybe after I've done it for 5 minutes, I would decide it's worthless. But I've never gotten to try, which is I would like to see what happens if I do 2 different connections from my same computer and have them be picture by picture. And if that gives me like extra desktops in Windows. Like, I mean, technically speaking, you can split your screen, and I do it all the time with AeroSnap. But I don't like Windows Snap a lot because it keeps getting messed up. But when I have things on separate monitors, I don't have that problem. I just hit the maximize and I take over the screen, and I'm good at keeping them on the screen. So I'm thinking, like, I have a really wide monitor. What if I could just run 2 different DisplayPort connections, or DisplayPort and HDMI, from my same graphics card on my desktop here to the same monitor, treat them as different connections, and do a PBP, and like, would I get like just 2? I mean, I think Windows would see it as 2 different monitors, and then I would have like 2 task bars, and I would do a better job of managing my windows and splitting up my space, because I'm terrible with this 4K monitor, 27-inch monitor, of like maximizing stuff, and I've got all this extra white space even with the high scaling on that, and I would love to force it to split in half or whatever. So I don't know. That is a theory I would love to test. Now maybe I would look at it and be like, I could just window snap stuff and not do this, whatever. I mean, another issue I'd run into there is that most video cards, including mine, only support 4 outs, and then I have 3 other whole monitors. So that would be 5 outs. So I would have to either get another graphics card or something. But anyway,
Yeah.
I would certainly try it.
It's a fascinating pitch that you've just thrown out there. And I'm thinking about whether or not the taskbar behavior would annoy me enough or not for it to be a problem. But I really like the idea of, Windows shift left and right to just push it, boom, boom. And I know I do Windows left and right to do halves now, but the idea that Windows would recognize it appropriately, you don't have to worry about things getting stacked.
Yeah, I just have that problem a lot. I don't know. And I tried something called Virtual Display Manager the other day that's supposed to solve for that and doesn't really. So anyway, we don't need to distract with all this. But
Fascinating.
That's something I'm thinking about.
Okay.
And by the way, folks, there's an LG monitor that's on sale now I think it's called the Double or something, and it is actually 2 monitors in one.
Is it the up and down one?
But yes. So there are 2 like 2K monitors stacked. Is what it is.
Yeah.
But
I've seen that about.
But it's not a great deal because I think it's close to $600 for that, and I guess that's okay.
Yeah.
But one could probably get a mount, get some less expensive 2K monitors and stack them. But
Sure.
but anyway, that's the idea. I'd love to try it out.
Yeah, that sounds like a fun project. Well,
Yeah.
as always, Avram, I appreciate you bringing this info to us, and I look forward to what we talk about next time. This week's Extra Life on F5 Live Refreshing Technology is proudly powered by EXA. EXA brings the latest technology to gamers, offering the most immersive products for the ultimate gaming experience. They've compiled the best elements of cutting-edge ENC tech, the latest in Bluetooth 5.0 and 7.1 surround, plus extra features into their headsets so everyone can enjoy a sensational gaming experience. And they've got headsets for Xbox, PlayStation, Switch, and PC. Plus, they won't break the bank. Learn more about the headsets that are available and any current promotions by going to f5live.tv/exa. Doing business in China is a complicated one, no matter what industry you're in. The gaming industry is a particularly complicated one. There are all kinds of interesting rules, such as you can't show blood, gore, skulls, which makes certain games, take World of Warcraft, makes them a challenge. Blizzard, in particular, has teamed up with, for years, I think 12 now, has teamed up with a company called NetEase, which takes the Blizzard titles, alters them to make them legal in China, and then releases them in the country, allowing a domain expert on China and regulations to be in charge of that process. Well, that contract is coming to an end January 23rd, 2023. And apparently, the companies were not able to come to an agreement to extend the contract. And as such, on that date, Blizzard titles are going to disappear inside of China, which is a really, really big deal. China's gaming market has grown-ish. We know that, for particularly for younger people, there are all kinds of weird curfew rules. You can't play any games during the week, and on the weekends you can only have 2 hours. But for adults, the market has grown pretty significantly. So, you know, for Blizzard to full pull out of the country is a pretty big and bold move. It does seem, since they weren't able to come to an agreement with NetEase, it seems to me that maybe they weren't as motivated. Maybe NetEase thought they had them, you know, kind of locked down because long-time partnership, domain expert, and maybe Blizzard just decided, I don't know, maybe it's not that important. Maybe they think, you know, Microsoft might be able to have the resources to help. I don't know. This whole thing seems really interesting to me. They've been partnered for a long time. It's like I said, it's a pretty big, bold move to say bye-bye China.
It is. I mean, this reminds me of, didn't we do a story a while back about a company that took movies, Hollywood movies, and like resold them with like the adult content filtered out?
Yeah, Angel something.
Is that?
I think Disney sued them into oblivion.
Yes. Well, that obviously in this case, Blizzard is doing it to itself, right? Is that the idea?
Correct.
They have to work.
They have teamed up with this company who is the domain expert, and they purposely remove the things from the games that are not allowed within the country. So yes, it's totally on purpose.
I mean, it's like having a compliant. I mean, if putting aside the artistic and censorship concerns for a second, which if you want to do business in China, you have to be willing to play by the rules of the Chinese government, which require a certain kinds of censorship. Although
VidAngel
here in America, we do censorship too.
VidAngel was the platform you were talking about.
That's right. So it's like if Disney hired VidAngel to do on purpose.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, I guess the question is it that Blizzard doesn't like how the games are being edited, or is it that it doesn't like what they have to pay NetEase?
So I think they've been happy with the results. As far as the content and the distribution, it could be a deal over, because from what I understand, the deal was two-way. NetEase titles from China were distributed internationally through Blizzard, and Blizzard titles were being distributed in China through NetEase, with all the content things going on. So it could be that NetEase wasn't happy with Blizzard distribution. It could be that Blizzard wasn't happy with NetEase. It could have been cost. Neither one. Both of them suggested that an agreement could not be reached, but neither one of them said what it was that I've seen. You know, there's been no like internal leaks of discussions or anything. It's all been pretty calm about the relationship, partially because there's always the possibility they work together again in the future, and this is negotiating tactics on both sides. You know, like the cable company saying, NBC wants more money. On this date, we're going to stop carrying them, you know?
Or Sony and Marvel breaking up.
Sure.
Right?
Sure.
At one point they broke up, and then, you know, they were convinced to come back together and do a new license so they could do Spider-Man 3.
Yeah. Yeah, because 2 was the last of the license because they included him in the Avengers movies. But yeah,
right.
So there's the possibility they come back together. There's also an interesting situation in that right now, which title is it? Diablo Immortal, which just came out this year, does not fall under this game poll because for some reason it has its own special agreement between the companies. So they are still going to be working together. At least through the end of that contract. So, you don't start throwing punches when you're going to have to continue to live together.
I think they're gonna. I don't know. They may work together again. I mean, I think this is probably purely a matter of money. That Blizzard wasn't happy with the money, or that NetEase wasn't happy with what Blizzard wanted to pay, or whatever. I think that's what's going on, because obviously they had no problem with their content being edited. They got in the market. They were in the market. They were willing to play by these rules. So, it must just be money.
Yeah, that's my suspicion. And so the question comes down to, is China not lucrative enough for Blizzard? Which is a possibility, right? Blizzard's games are fairly specific, right? And it's a semi-small focused collection, right? Warcraft, Starcraft, Diablo, Overwatch, that, right? So it's a condensed. It's not Activision. It's a smaller collection. So are they the types of games that are being successful in China? I don't know. Maybe it's not lucrative enough for them to spend the money to have this done. We know that the company has already focused resources that had been focused on China elsewhere in the world. So it's possible they just don't care. It's possible that this is a cable versus broadcast kind of game of chicken.
Yeah.
Right? And it's possible that Blizzard is talking to somebody else, right? This could be a divorce while there's already a side chick, right? Because there's a company, I think it's GG Games or QQ Games, but I think it's GG, that also has a similar scenario to this. That's a company that does distribution of games in China with content moderation. So it's possible that what we're going to find out is that they've, on January 23rd, is that they've made an agreement with this other company, this one or another one. There might be more. I'm just particularly aware of this one that came up in my research. We might find out, hey, we've just switched providers. We weren't allowed to say it until our contract was up with NetEase. But on this day, your stuff's going to continue to work. It's just new things are going to distribute through this platform instead of this one. Who knows? In other parts of the tech and entertainment world, China is a lucrative market. Again, for Blizzard, it might not be. I don't know. StarCraft is really popular in Asia, though. Probably more popular in Asia than it is in Europe or North America at this point. So maybe StarCraft is lucrative. Who knows? But as of right now, what we know is, except for Diablo Immortal, Blizzard Games will stop working in China on January 23rd. So if you're over there, which you're probably not because you're listening to our show, something tells me this doesn't show up there. I don't know why. But if you're listening, know that as of right now, that is the expectation. So prepare for it. This week's news from the tubes on F5 Live Refreshing Technology is proudly powered by Malwarebytes. Whether you use a PC, a Mac, or a mobile device, Malwarebytes Premium is the company's strongest protection ever. It fights threats that traditional antivirus software can't stop. Plus, it actively blocks threats like worms, rogues, dialers, trojans, spyware, and a whole lot more. It allows you to use your computer and mobile devices with confidence and peace of mind. To learn more and to get a special price, you can go to f5live.tv/malwarebytes. In the US, everybody is familiar with the nutrition facts. They show up on the side or the back of all of the food that you purchase. Gives you information about sodium and fat and protein, list of all the ingredients. Now, why are we talking about that? Well, the FCC has implemented what they're calling broadband facts. Visually and conceptually, it's entirely based around the concept of the nutrition facts on your food. In it, you'll be able to find all kinds of information about internet service packages so that you can make an informed decision by easily comparing Spectrum and Frontier side by side to see what features, speed, price, fees, other things that have privacy policy, contract period, restrictions, bandwidth caps, all the things that we have been talking about being challenges in the internet world for years are all put on here. And in the article, there's an image. I should have imported it into the show to show it off. It's legitimately based on the nutrition facts. Like, I'm looking, it says broadband facts, and then provider name, service plan name and or speed tier, fixed or mobile broadband consumer disclosure. So this is going to be for both landline and wireless providers. Your monthly price. This price is or is not an introductory rate. If it is, what it's going to be. This monthly price does or does not require a contract. Monthly fees, one-time fee, early termination fee, government taxes, discounts and bundles, speeds provided with plan, download, upload, latency, data included, charges for additional data, network management, privacy policy, direct customer support information, just an absolute ton of information provided in a required design so that you can legitimately look at two of them side by side like you would if you picked up two cans of soup and you could compare side to side. You can do the exact same thing here. It's a fascinating concept. It addresses, two companies having the same feature but calling it different things. We've talked about that with cars over the years. We've talked about that with ISPs. Here we have a nutrition label for the ISP. I find it fascinating.
Yeah, I mean, funny thing. So I'm, besides getting a new monitor this week, and getting and having working until I'm ill, I am getting a new I'm getting a new broadband plan on Tuesday.
Okay.
It is completely coincidental to, I didn't say, hey, I'm getting it so I can have more broadband for Black Friday. Like, I'm not short of broadband to look up deals. It's fine. But the thing is, after many years, and I'm probably the last person I know to do this, we are, my family and I are finally canceling cable TV. That's it. We're done. And so we moved. We were on Fios and we stay on Fios, but I called them and I got them to cancel. So I'm getting like internet only plan. Now what's weird is, now if I had this, I would know whether or not this plan had too much cholesterol for me. But
right.
what's weird is, and I'm actually curious whether they were putting one over on me. So in order to get the new plan, I have to go up in speed, which is fine. That's good, because given that now I'm going to have, my wife and kids only watching streaming, we'll probably use a little more bandwidth than we do now, where TV comes over cable. But they told me that in order to get the new, like right now I have a plan that's supposed to be like 100 megabit. And that's not great, but it's been okay. And the new cheapest new plan I could get was 300 megabit. Okay. And they said, we have to send, even though I have Verizon and I'm staying on Verizon, they want to send someone to my house to upgrade it for $150. Now, they claimed that because the way it works with FiOS, and I know a lot of people around the country have FiOS, so they they've had the same, is that they don't have what's quote unquote a modem, but they sell you or rent you a router that has like their, I don't know what you would call it, modem built in. Mm-hmm. And so, but there's also like a control box in the basement. So they said the control box runs a coax cable up to my living room. And they said like, oh, if you're getting this new speed, you can't use the coax cable anymore. So we have to send someone over to your house to run an Ethernet cable from your basement to your living room. And we're going to charge you $150 for that.
Huh.
I don't know if I believe them. I don't know if what I mean is, I don't know if I believe that the coax cable could not support 300 megabits. And that, however they had set it up when I first moved into the house like 8 years ago, they use a coax cable to go from the basement to my living room. And now they say, oh, you can't still use that coax cable because you're getting higher speed internet, and therefore a coax cable can't handle 300 megabits a second. And so we have to send someone over to your house to run an Ethernet cable. Or you could do it yourself, but I'm not really handy at like running a cable from the basement through the routed around whatever to the through the ceiling. So okay, I guess I'll go do it, but it's just weird. I don't know if I buy it, that you can't, that we would need an Ethernet, that we couldn't just use the existing coax cable, but since I really can't prove it one way or the other until until they already turned it on.
Right.
I paid the $150 and they're coming on Tuesday. But anyway,
it's definitely interesting.
Yeah, I mean,
because I have 2 gigabit internet connections in here, and both of them are from cable companies. And so they run over coax to get to me, let alone, from outside into the box. It comes down to whatever they're doing for their, the FiOS is its own kind of special beast.
I don't know whether to believe them or not, but I didn't know if I didn't feel like I was in a position to argue about it. And if I could have said, they said like, if you want to run your own Ethernet cable through the ceiling, you can. And I was like, hey, I'd rather not do that. So
sure.
And I could have just said I'll do it and then not done it and then seen what happens with the coax cable. But then they might not come. Then if it didn't work, then I'd have to like get them to come, and then it wouldn't be
at a different
installation
rate.
It would be some kind of support call or something. So
yeah, and the rate would almost certainly be different.
Yeah. So in other words, and who knows, that it would have been a lower priority or whatever. So paying $150 that I may not need to pay. But but at the same time, my cable bill was $180 a month and is now going to be $50 a month. So so that's Yes.
Giant win.
Although, yes and no. I mean, because it was $182 or something for TV and internet,
Hmm.
slower internet. But now it's going to be $50 just for internet, and then my wife still wants like live TV, so we had to sign up for YouTube TV.
Got it.
That's ending up costing me $55 a month. So, which is a special deal for T-Mobile customers, by the way. So it's like $105 a month versus, and they claim that I don't know, but they claim that there are no special fees on top of the $50 a month for
Okay.
Verizon. But if I had this broadband fax thing, I would know that for sure.
Right. Absolutely. And you'd be able to see very specifically how it's broken down. And more interestingly, the FCC is not just requiring that this exists, but that this go with all marketing. So we're going to start seeing this. Uh-oh. Give me just a moment. I apologize. I have not had this problem in like a year. I forgot to do something before we started the show. Hopefully, I did not make a huge mistake. But I'm back. So not only is the FCC requiring this, but they're requiring it on all marketing. So I don't know exactly what that means. Like, are we going to see it in newspaper ads and in things that show up in the mail? Because there's a particular cable company around here that sends mail all the time. Like, sometimes I'll get 3 or 4 things from them a week. They really want me as a customer. Interestingly, I already am. They're not cross-referencing their customer database with their marketing database, but that's a whole other issue. Like, are we going to see it on mailers? Is it going to be on TV? I wasn't able to get to the bottom of exactly what it means. I also wasn't able to get a required launch date. I read the entire document from top to bottom. It is so unbelievably long and unbelievably boring because it's written in governmentese, which seems to be missing verbs. But what I did find out is that they're required to maintain these in perpetuity. So even if a plan is long gone, right? Your 100 megabit plan, long gone. They'd still... That one's not a good example because it predates the requirement. But in a couple of years, in a similar situation, you'd actually be able to pull the one for your current plan and your future plan. They're required to maintain them in perpetuity. Which is great. Thank goodness for that. Because otherwise all of this falls apart, right? All they have to do is change the plan plan name every 3 months, and all of a sudden it doesn't work anymore, right? It suddenly becomes worthless. They're required to keep them in perpetuity.
Good.
Yeah. So, like I said, there is an example from the FCC. The actual FCC example is available on the website at PLUGHITZlive.com. You can see it. All the red text is the stuff that will be filled in by the provider. It is an absolute ton of information, just like the nutrition labels, and I cannot wait to start seeing these things out in the wild. It's going to help because, you and I can look at the technical details and know what they mean. But even you and I don't know all the weird hidden fees and things, right? Like you just said. I have no way of knowing.
They don't tell you. It's like going to the doctor and they don't tell you until you get the bill. I mean, right. However, the guy on the phone claimed that it's a straight $50 and there's nothing on top of that. I will wait to see my first bill. But invariably, it seems like it'll be a little bit cheaper than what I had been paying for TV and internet together, and it is 3 times the speed that I have. Although I'll be using more bandwidth, but at the same time, let's say nobody else was home but me, and I was working. I don't even know if I will notice 300 megabit for what I do, but 100 has been good. 100 has actually been okay.
I know where you might notice. You might notice in the stability of video upload. So this show, StreamYard, when you do the podcast, you might notice better stability on your up. Not necessarily better quality, but better stability. Because that was what I noticed when we changed the primary service, because we used to have just the one, and we added a second one for the studio, and the studio has bonded bandwidth like Verizon and Frontier have, and the stability of our video out changed dramatically on that change. So that's just a fun piece of information. You might notice that, but yeah, otherwise, I mean, unless you're doing a lot of, uploading videos to YouTube and stuff, which was the other place where I noticed a big change on the faster up. Other than that, I got nothing. So anyway, we'll definitely when these things start showing up in the wild, we'll definitely circle back around and do a comparison video. Take a couple of carriers and actually look at them side by side and see how the information stacks up. But for now, this is what we've got to look forward to. This week's DRM Not Included on F5 Live Refreshing Technology is proudly powered by Amazon Prime. We all know that you get free shipping on millions of products with Amazon Prime, but you get a whole lot more. Like free music with Amazon Prime Music, free TV, movies, and documentaries with Amazon Prime Video, free games, and a free Twitch subscription to support the content creator of your choice with Amazon Prime Gaming, plus a whole lot more. We've got links to all of these features and some of our favorites, plus a 30-day free trial, all by going to f5live.tv/prime. Chat is going a little nuts over you upgrading to 300 megabits. Anyway,
they probably think, or I'm not seeing the chat. Is it that they think that's so low, or do they think that's really high? Because I think that's low.
Wait, did he say he only updated to 300 megabits?
I mean, should I have? Here's the thing. I haven't. I mean, look, I'm embarrassed. Like, there's certain things I'm embarrassed as a tech person to admit, but especially because I am obviously think that everybody should have broadband. But like, and there's almost nobody who doesn't. But there's pockets. Anyway, and in other countries it's hard to get broadband. But anyway, point being, like, this is when I signed up for my plan like 8 years ago. It was actually 75, and they bumped me to 100 at one point. And I have never noticed a real problem with the bandwidth for whatever it was I was doing. And so the minimum is 300. I could spend another $30 a month to get it to a gigabit, but I'm not sure if I would notice the difference.
Right.
So I don't really want to spend $360 a year, or whatever that adds up. No, it's $360 more a year for something that I don't know that I'll see. So 100%. That's, I mean, I agree. There's nothing to be, I'm not showing off. There's nothing to be impressed about. 300 minutes. It's just 3 times better than I have now.
Just as a note, before we get into the topic, the broadband facts also requires information about whether it applies for the Affordable Connectivity Program, which is the subsidy program for people who are lower income. So anyway, let's talk about Ticketmaster and what appears to be their complete misunderstanding of how the internet works. So Taylor Swift announced a new tour for the first time in 5 years. Whether or not you're a Taylor Swift fan doesn't matter. You almost certainly can recognize that Taylor Swift is popular. Her tours tend to sell out pretty quickly. And a new tour after, a long period, in this case, partially because of COVID and, other issues. There's a new album, all kinds of things. Clearly, there's going to be a lot of demand for these tickets. Add into that the scourge of the internet, scalper bots. For sure, we're going to come after tickets to the concert. If they're coming after video cards, they're certainly going to come after Taylor Swift concert tickets. Clearly, the resources put behind the ticket seller were going to need to be immense. In an era of cloud computing, you would go into Azure or AWS and tell it, I'm going to need more instances behind my load balancer starting at this time. And it would automatically scale up, give you all the bandwidth you need, and everything is fine. Ticketmaster, however, seems to have missed all of that. Either they didn't know that Taylor Swift is popular, that bots exist, or that the cloud exists. I don't know exactly where their problem came in, but within moments of pre-sales opening up, Ticketmaster completely collapsed in on itself like a dying star. As such, all kinds of problems happened. The bots that were poking at the system every few seconds automatically were able to get tickets. Human beings, however, were getting locked out of the system, getting confirmations for tickets that they didn't end up getting charged for tickets that they ended up not getting. In one case, one woman showed screenshots of her bank where she had been charged 13 times for tickets that she did not receive, putting her into, a black hole of overdraft fees and whatnot. Ticketmaster has, they kind of pointed, the meme of the three Spider-Mans pointing at each other?
Yeah.
That's Ticketmaster. Ticketmaster is pointing fingers at everybody but themselves. They claim that the bots were a problem. They're like, apparently Taylor Swift is popular. So shame on you for wanting tickets, apparently. And the end result is that they canceled all non-presale sales of these tickets. Because apparently, after the pre-sales and the bots and the crashes and whatever confusion in their inventory comes from this poor girl getting charged 13 times for tickets, they either have no tickets left or they don't know how many tickets they have left. And so they just shut down regular sales of tickets. I wouldn't have wanted to be in the building while this was happening.
So,
it sounds like sheer chaos, but what?
So who has the tickets? Like,
right.
When they say shut down, I heard this, but I don't understand. Are they just, were all the tickets sold to someone already, or?
The records of the company, which can't necessarily be trusted, right? Because one girl got charged 13 times for her order. The records for the company show that they're out of tickets. But are they? I don't know. General sales hadn't even started yet. It was only the pre-sales, which, are limited to, whatever, Amex holders, whatever the rules are for pre-sales for any particular event. Mm-hmm. Pre-sales locked it up, killed the system, potentially screwed up the inventory or depleted the inventory. I think they don't know, personally. I think they simply don't know how many tickets they have, and they're going to have to do some sort of a forensic auditing before they have any idea what happened. That's my my feeling on what's going on there, and they're not ready to say it.
Would they be better off sort of just, I don't know, like obviously there's probably going to be lawsuits anyway, but like,
There are.
can they just have a situation where they just like cancel all the current, refund all the current sales and like scale up capacity and just start over again?
Potentially. I guarantee somebody who had one the first time and doesn't get him the second time.
Yeah, would be unhappy, but some of those people
And
were probably bots,
probably.
which cannot really be totally helped.
Right.
So I don't know. I mean, it's weird because on the one hand, if you pay attention to the news lately, everybody's talking about concerns about the economy, inflation, recession, problem. Are people willing to spend money on luxury items? And then we have an uproar over people being unable to purchase concert tickets that cost hundreds of dollars a piece.
True.
I don't know how to interpret that,
In
because
fairness,
those people were, yeah.
In fairness, during an economic downturn, particularly during a recession, the entertainment industry thrives.
Really?
Yep.
People just want to be entertained.
Yeah. I guess it's an escape from what's going on around them. I don't know, but the entertainment industry thrives. Other luxuries do not, but for some reason, the entertainment industry, particularly movies and concerts, thrive during an economic downturn. The gaming industry has joined that collection in the last decade or so.
Huh.
Fascinating piece of
Right,
information.
well.
I don't know why I know it.
Yes.
It must
Well,
have
I mean,
factored into an article at some point.
I mean, if you're unemployed, the video gaming section could be very important because you
True.
might have nothing to do, but to
True.
but
I know that
like,
Mark Lauder, who has been on the show in the past, he used to play maybe Call of Duty with a couple of guys who were on unemployment, and all they did was play the Xbox and smoked weed. So
yeah, I mean, anyway, it's it's I mean, I'm sorry for those folks. I mean, on the other hand, some of them may end up being several $100s wealthier than if they had not gone.
True.
I mean, than if they had gone.
Right.
So
That's
I
interesting.
don't.
I didn't notice that you said that backwards. I totally knew what you were saying.
Okay. Right. So they're going to be, they under the premise that a penny saved is a penny earned. They probably earned, some people probably earned hundreds. I mean, what does it cost to get a ticket? I mean, I'm sure it's probably at least $100, right?
For sure.
For probably that's like the minimal seat, right?
Yeah, the up top seats.
Now, are these tickets going to now show up on resale markets though? I bet they
100%. 100%.
So you can still buy a ticket.
Yep, you're
you
just going to have to go to
spend a lot of money on it. Right. So what you've really done is moved the nexus from one corrupt group of people to another. You moved it from Ticketmaster, who owns the industry and therefore can do what they want in terms of fees and upset people.
Mm-hmm.
To
what do you, as a consumer, what are you going to do about it? Nothing.
Yeah, nothing. To scalpers, but hey, I guess you're helping small business. The scalpers are small businesses, mostly, probably, right?
Probably.
So somebody else in the line gets to take a cut. I mean, you don't have to go. Like,
it's true. There's no legal requirement to go to the concert.
You don't have to go, and my personal opinion is that you would probably be better off just sitting on Spotify and listening to some great metal playlists. I was thinking of putting together a playlist actually called "What to Listen to Instead of Taylor Swift," and putting that out on social. Look at this as an opportunity to broaden your horizons to good music, or But you know, I mean, I don't know. I've never like I've been to concerts, I've been to sporting events. I always feel really bad about if I'm spending like a lot of money on them because like
Mm-hmm.
it's experiences are really important because you don't get to have them again. But
True.
like like it's on the other hand, it's like wow, if I see something that's like $300 for ticket, I'm like, wow, that's like 2 hours or $300 or that's a lot of money,
Yeah.
you know. I mean, I was looking up how much it would cost like to take my family to a Broadway show,
Uh-huh.
and that you're talking like
Yeah.
$500 six. I'm not each, but like
Yeah.
maybe a ticket would be like $150 $200 for a bad seat, and I don't care.
Mm-hmm.
I'll take the bad seat. I won't spend money on a good to get a better seat because that's already bad. Like it's already a lot of money, but
Yeah.
like, man, for two you go to that Taylor Swift concert, you better for the money you're spending, you better not be drunk, and you better
True.
not have to go to the bathroom, because every minute you're spending a lot of money, so you better be fully in that experience. Yeah, I mean, look, they're going to get a lot of heat from the government because this is a very popular thing for the government to do. Nobody
Indeed.
likes Nobody likes Ticketmaster, and I don't think Ticketmaster has enough, I don't know, donor power or whatever with politicians um, to stop this. But also, let's talk about what this is. They're going to have to show up. I bet you that they're going to hold some type of a hearing in Congress or in the Senate, and they'll have somebody from Ticketmaster come, and there'll be a bunch of footage of politicians yelling at them that they're terrible people and that this is a terrible monopoly and that we should break it up. And then nothing will happen, and we'll go back, and there'll be another story like this in a while. There's
So,
nothing is going to, yeah.
on that topic, more interesting than the House or Senate committees calling them in to yell at them, the Department of Justice has initiated an antitrust investigation. We know that when the DOJ gets involved, it's more likely that something can come of it if they find anything they think they can pounce on for some good public juju. They tend to. Whether or not anything comes of it is a whole different thing. But the DOJ over the years has opened, has filed antitrust suits against Microsoft and Google, and
It's more the Ticketmaster's more of a monopoly than any of them.
agreed.
The thing though about Ticketmaster,
what else is there other than buying it secondhand at StubHub later? Basically, every venue has exclusivity with Ticketmaster at this point, including small venues.
can you still, and I honestly don't know because I'm not done this much, but can you still go and buy things at a physical box office and avoid the fee that way?
Nope. Can you go and buy it at
No.
a physical box office? Yes. Does it avoid the fee? No, because now the agreement with Ticketmaster is that all ticket sales run through them. So you can go in person, but you're still paying the fee.
So if I go to, like, here in New York, we've got lots of Broadway theaters.
Mm-hmm.
You can go to the Broadway theater and they have a box office where you can buy things. You can buy tickets. If I go to their box office for that theater, the people who work there are just giving a protection racket fee to Ticketmaster.
Yes. It's how it works here. Our Straz Theater and Ruth Eckerd Hall, both, you can go to the box office, but they're just processing it through a different UI of Ticketmaster through their POS version of the software. In fairness, they're both POS, but the letters stand for different things in both contexts.
I get it. Yeah, I mean, well, that kind of sucks.
Yeah,
I would
it
encourage.
sure does.
If
I
anybody
cannot-
asked me, which
I cannot tell you how angry my father was the last time he went to a box office, because he gets annoyed at a red light. Like, he's got all kinds of weird things, and the Ticketmaster fee is something that he just could not deal with. So he always, even if it was way out of his way, he would go to the box office to avoid the fee. And then he got hit with a fee at the box office. Oh, I would have loved to have been there to see it. I can only imagine how he responded to that.
That kind of suggests that you shouldn't bother going to the box office then, right? I mean, if you're
it was the last time he did.
Gonna pay the convenience fee, but there's no convenience, but you're inconvenienced.
Yeah,
it's like paying for delivery when you get takeout. So yeah, that's well, that kind of sucks.
Yeah.
Maybe the artists and the venues could get involved here, because I don't think anybody's forced the venues to use Ticketmaster, right? I mean, they could choose an alternate way.
Theoretically, absolutely. The question is, at this point, is there an alternate way, right? Is there another system that isn't Ticketmaster? Because Ticketmaster kept buying the others, and now that they're part of Live Nation, which already owned another ticketing system when they bought Live Nation, Ticketmaster in 2010, I don't know that there are any services out there that are even trying to compete with Ticketmaster, because, you know, David and Goliath, right? How do you take down the giant? You can start knocking on the doors of theaters. Hey, we can be your exclusive.
I think there's probably a great opportunity. Listen, if people want to go to
Probably.
I don't think this is that complicated. Like, I mean, I guess the contracts are complicated, but I don't think that would be that difficult to like, if somebody could sign up, unless they were locked into the contract with Ticketmaster for some other reason, like maybe the artists have to.
Right.
Do the artists have to use Ticketmaster, or does the vendor have? Is it the venue?
Live Nation puts on most of the tours at this point.
So
Live Nation, I guess, underwrites a lot of tours.
Well, I guess that could be a problem then. But I mean, if you were,
and that's where the antitrust case is coming in, right? That's the DOJ and the attorneys general for both North Carolina and Tennessee have all three opened antitrust investigations because of this. Live Nation, you know, funds and underwrites so many of the tours, and then they own Ticketmaster, and they require the venues to use Ticketmaster for their tours. Well, if you're using Ticketmaster for your ticketing for, you know, these events, well, you've already got an account. You're already selling tickets through it. Well, maybe at that point, it doesn't make sense for this event to go through this ticketing system and this one to go through this one. I bet that's how we got where we are, and I imagine that these three investigations, which I imagine are going to be just the beginning of it, because I don't see Florida not joining in with this, for example. I imagine that's how we got where we are, was Live Nation buying Ticketmaster, forcing Ticketmaster on their events, and then venues going, well, we're already required to use Ticketmaster for these, maybe we just move over there, and then everybody else went out of business.
Yeah, maybe. Well, sucks. Maybe something will come of it, because incidents like this are the only chance for there to actually be a change.
Yep, 100%. Hopefully, that change will come. Well, that is our show. Thank you to those of you who joined us live. Like I said, there was a lot going on in chat tonight. Thank you for that. If you didn't join us live and would like to in the future, Sunday nights, 9 p.m. Eastern, you can go to f5live.tv/join us. You watch the show, chat underneath, chat with each other, with us. We can respond to your comments in real time, except for a weird glitch where the chat kind of threw everything all at once. tonight. Don't know what was going on there. But yeah, we can respond to you real time. We really enjoy that. If you can't join us live, that's okay. PLUGHITZLive.com/subscribe. That's where all of our shows are. F5 Live, Piltch Point, PLUGHITZ Live Presents, and a whole lot more. All available for you there. We will not be on next week because, Avram will be gripping onto his sanity with all of his strength.
It's already gone. Sanity is gone. It's all gone. But yeah, I mean, yes, I probably so, because it'll be the night. It'll be Cyber Monday Eve.
Mm-hmm. We always take that weekend off because it's just too much for us to try and do a show, for any of us to try and take any time away. So we will be off next week, as will GNC Week in Review, and then hopefully both shows should be back the following week. So with that, on behalf of the staff that's not here, I'm Scott.
I'm Avram.
And we'll see you back in 2 weeks. Ciao.